Okay, so we're back for part 2 of 8-3. Now we want to talk about vector projection. We talked about dot product, excuse me. Now we want to talk about vector projection. What the heck is that? Okay, well, let me first give you the formula or how to do it and how to write it. Okay, so projection of U onto V. This is how you write it. Projection of U, and then a little bit lower between the U and the proj word, you write V. So this says projection of U onto V. How do you do it? So first, you find the dot product of UV. Then you take V, right, onto V. You take V and find the magnitude and square it. And then that value times the vector. So we're going to end up with a vector. Now here on the right, I try to show you what's happening. So here's U, here's V. I want to project U onto V. Okay? Now, when I project it, another way to look at this is, if you think of this one here, as the screen that we're going to project onto, think of this as a white screen. So we're projecting everything this way, right? So if we're projecting it, you're going to see U is going to go start here and end here, which is what I wrote here, right? See that? So if we're projecting onto V, this vector here, isn't it going to look like on the screen? Is it going to look like this right here? Okay, so we want to find what this vector is. So we're going to use the components of both of them, A and B, A and B. We're going to use the components, and when we're done, we're going to find out what that little vector is that's on the screen, on V. Right? So we're calling it W1. W1 is the vector projection. Okay? Okay, and by the way, W2, if we're projecting, right? W1 is the component, right? But W2 is the orthogonal or the perpendicular. We'll find that one too. But for finding the projection, W1, this is how you do it. Okay, so it's all a matter of plugging in and knowing what these symbols mean. Really, that's what it comes down to. Okay, so let's project U onto V. Here's U, here's V. So what do I do? Okay, following what I have up here. On the top, I have the dot product of the two, right? The dot product, that's what I have on the top. On the bottom, I have the magnitude square. The magnitude is, right, this squared, added to, and then square root, and then square it. So yeah, you can see that the square and the square root are going to cancel each other. So the magnitude of V is on the bottom. So that's going to give me one value. And then times, if you remember our formula, times the V vector, right? The whole vector, right? 5, -5. So when I get this value, I'll simply multiply it in, right? And what is that value? Simplifying, 5 over 50. It comes out to 5 over 50. So I multiply that in, and it comes out to 25 over 50, negative 25 over 50, if I multiply in, right? So there it is, half, negative half. So I found the projection. That little vector is half, comma, negative half. Okay? Finding the projection of a vector. Okay? Finding the other vector, W2. Okay? Finding the other vector. Well, if you're first vector is W1 plus W2, and you know one of them already, because you just found that the projection, right? Then you can just take U and subtract that one, and that will be W2. So, again, this is in a box, so you should remember the other vector, the orthogonal vector, W2, the starting vector minus the projection of that vector, right? So U minus this, right? U minus the projection of U. So for the above example that I just did, right? This is U, this is the projection of U, and we're looking for W2. So obviously we're just going to do this minus this. And how do you do subtraction? This minus this minus this. Okay, it comes out to fractions, but so what? You got calculators. Okay, so when we get to class, when I see you in class, we'll talk more about this, but look at it this way. I put all the formulas and the rules in boxes, and all it comes down to is, right, hopefully you get the concept. If you don't, we'll talk about it more in class. But what it comes down to is plugging in the numbers and getting an answer. And you gotta know what the symbols mean, right? What proj, V on the bottom here, U here, right? You gotta know what the symbols mean. Okay? All right. That's it. I'll see you in class. Please jot down any questions that you have so we can get to it right away. All right. See you in class. Bye.